Good morning. I am Alexa Tinsay from the Business Development Group. And together with me are the members of the Grupong Tamang Alaga Academy and Unilab CIT as we bring you today's webinar. So good morning once again. So today's learning session will be very interesting. We will discuss the women's reproductive health and fertility. And we will learn about the common reproductive health concerns faced by women and how to take charge of our fertility. So for today's webinar, we will run it from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And to save on time for questions you may have, kindly use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. And we will entertain comments and questions at the end of the lectures during the open forum. Okay, so before we begin, we acknowledge the presence of Attorney Joey Ochave. Sir Joey, may we invite you to give us a few words to open the webinar.
Thank you, Alexa. First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Maris for gracing, for honoring us today. And then just two more points. One is that some of you may wonder, why we invite all of you to all these medical webinars. I think it's incumbent upon everyone, regardless of what your position is in the organization, to know a few things regarding medical matters. Since you are in pharma, regardless of what your position is in the organization, I think when you go back to your family and to your communities, there's a certain expectation that you at least know something, about medical matters. So I encourage everyone, and regardless of your position, to attend all these medical webinars. And number two is we have opened this. I've asked Ms. Elaine and Doc Nancy to open these medical webinars to people outside of Unilab. So your friends, your family, do invite them when we have medical webinars like this, because it's part of our responsibility to make sure that the correct information is out there and that people do not rely on whatever disinformation or misinformation is being peddled in the social media. So thank you very much again. And Dr. Maris, thank you very much po. Okay, thank you. Alexa, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Sir Joey. All right, so now without further ado, let us now proceed with our webinar entitled Taking Charge of Your Fertility. Okay, so our speaker for this session is Dr. Maria Isadora Yap Garcia. So we know her as Doc Maris. She is a fellow of the Philippine Society of Reproductive Medicine and a fellow of the Philippine Obstetrical and Gynecological Society. She completed her residency in obstetrics and gynecology at the University of the Philippines, Philippine General Hospital, and completed her fellowship trainings in reproductive endocrinology and infertility at St. Luke's Medical Center, Quezon City, and minimally invasive gynecology at the Ottawa Hospital, Ontario, Canada. So with that, let us all give a big warm welcome to Doc Maris. Doc Maris.
Thank you very much, Alexa. Thank you for that warm welcome. And thank you, Sir Joey. It's really such an honor to be here today. Thank you then to Grupong Tamang Alaga for inviting me today and really bringing out this topic, because the topic is entitled Taking Charge of Your Fertility, because first, for a reason. I notice a lot in my years of practice that women usually think about fertility only when they are about to start a family. So in their earlier years, we rarely think about it. Even myself, I hardly thought about it in my teens and in my early 20s. And it's only around the time that you want to start a family that you start thinking about it. But really, your fertility is really part of your overall health. So that's why, today's really supposed to be an empowering event. It's supposed to be an empowering talk. And I hope that you get some bits and pieces that you can apply on your, regardless of where you are in your fertility journey. I know a lot of us here are pretty young. So, so even if you're young, you can do something about fertility now. So allow me to share my slides. Okay, so we'll talk about, of course, infertility and basically the definitions, what infertility is, how do you know if you're infertile, and the more common causes of infertility, the workups that you should be undergoing if you do find that you have difficulty getting pregnant, and the treatment options as well now that are available. But first off, we have to first understand, of course, the hardware. No, this is mostly for the female because essentially because I'm a gynecologist, and this is really what I understand more. But of course, infertility is a couple thing. It's female and male. One of the biggest misconceptions that we do have is that it's mostly a female issue. But truly, the focus has been more on women because we understand it more. And it's basically because we have all of these tests to check the anatomy of the female and the function of the ovaries, etc. So what happens? How does a lady get pregnant? Well, we know that the sperm is deposited here in the vaginal area, and it has to go through the cervix. And once it goes through the cervix, it passes through the uterus. It goes through the fallopian tube, which we call the gateway to the ovaries. And that takes about maybe 2 minutes or so. Mabilis lang po yan. And the sperm stay here in those finger-like projections. We call that the ampulla. It stays there, and it can stay alive for about 2 to 6 days actually. And it waits for the egg in that area. The egg comes out for a very finite moment in time, only about 12 to 24 hours. So it would be prudent to have the sperm waiting there, since the sperm can survive for quite a long time. So they can stay there actually throughout the duration while waiting for the egg. So what we usually tell a couple is to have intercourse every 2 to 3 days. So you're sure that there's sperm waiting for the egg. Because once the egg is out, it's only receptive really. It's there for 24 hours, but it's only receptive for maybe 10, 12 hours. So after that, after it gets fertilized, it still goes through the fallopian tube, which is why the fallopian tube is so important. It takes about 5 days for it to reach the endometrium or the lining of the uterus. And then after 5 days, that's when the embryo it's actually the baby already, it implants into the uterus. So that's that. You've had a crash course on female anatomy and embryology. So now we go to what infertility is. Basically, the most general description is infertility is inability to conceive in 1 year of regular unprotected intercourse. So what does that mean? So the lady shouldn't be taking pills. They shouldn't, of course, withdrawal method, using condoms. That is not unprotected. And regular means, like I mentioned earlier, every 2 to 3 days. No? So there is something that we call secondary infertility and primary infertility. Infertility is not actually that uncommon. And recently, we've been noticing it has been rising, probably because, people are putting off their fertility until later on, and then eventually it's harder to get pregnant. Based on this data is about maybe 2010s pa po. It's about 15% of couples. So that's 1 out of 6 couples have difficulty conceiving within the first year. Primary infertility means that you haven't gotten pregnant at all. Secondary infertility pertains to women who have gotten pregnant before. Yung meron na po silang baby, pero yung panganay nila 7 years old na, 8 years old, hindi pa rin sila. And they've been trying for quite some time, and then hindi pa rin sila nabubuntis. These ladies also require treatment. No? So what are the different causes? Well, I like this slide because it really shows us that halos 50-50 ang cause ng infertility. Gone are the days, generations ago, eons ago, where it was all placed on the woman. We hear so many stories about, in ancient China where they shun women for being barren. That term, it's even biblical, no? Barren is really a woman's disease. But now that we're studying it more and more, we're realizing that hindi pala, it's 50-50 almost. And we have a subset called this question mark over here, that's unexplained infertility. I'll go through that later, a little bit more later now. We're finding now that it's probably male infertility. It's just that, like I mentioned earlier, infertility specialists are gynecologists. So we're really more focused on the women. And the men are, the test is quite imperfect. So right now we're catching up, and there are more tests for men. So we're seeing more and more the participation of the male. So what are the causes for female factor infertility? Well, like I mentioned earlier, no, it accounts for about 35 to 40%. Around 10%, we don't know, no? We don't know if it's male or female. It's unexplained. One common thing is ovulation problems. And the most common ovulation problem is PCOS, or your polycystic ovarian syndrome. Other reasons for ovulation problems are thyroid problems. Some naman, some are because there is this thing that where you exercise too much. For example, in athletes, exercise too much and then eventually you become so, nawawala po yung body fat and then you stop ovulating. I'm seeing this more and more these days now that women are more conscious, I guess, about body fat. Some women actually stop ovulating because of this, no? And this used to be an athlete problem. Now I see it in the clinics as well. Endometriosis and other uterine factors are also causes of infertility. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of endometriosis, but this is quite a common disease. When I was training in Ottawa, the Canadians know us Filipinos to have the worst endometriosis. So it seems like, it's true. We've done a study and we looked at who gets the worst endometriosis and who gets the most endometriosis. And the Filipinos have been pinpointed as those who have the worst endometriosis. So it's very relevant in our own population. Other uterine factors could include myomas or endometrial polyps, or some have uterine abnormalities that need to be assessed. And makikita po yan kapag nagpatingin po kayo. Of course, age. Age is a huge problem because can turn back time, and that really alludes to poor egg quality. The other things you can fix, but age and poor egg quality, they're very different. We don't have time machines yet, so it's this is something that we cannot fix. Blocked fallopian tubes, that's fixable, and that can be seen by a simple test. How about male factor? Well, male factor accounts for about 35 to 40%. Again, and usually we're really more focused on the sperm and the sperm problems, but there's so many other reasons we're finding out now that includes endocrine problems. No, this slide really, this isn't very far from what we really see under the microscope. Syempre, no eyes, no mouth, no teeth, no. Pero sometimes we do see sperm with two heads. We do see sperm with two tails, and I'll show you later, the requirement for men is not very high to be diagnosed as infertile. Even with sperm that look like that, men can get women pregnant. And of course, there's that question now. We used to think that men can impregnate women until, their 80s. And we see this sometimes, but now we're seeing age could actually be a real factor in terms of infertility. And maybe if not fertility, the quality of the pregnancy can be really a factor of male age. Now, this is unexplained infertility. I put it separately because this is quite an important subset of the patients who are infertile. A lot of people, this accounts for maybe 15% to 30% of those who are infertile. And these are the couples who come in, have themselves checked. Sometimes they have themselves checked lang. No? The lady gets an ultrasound, she gets her blood test, and the male gets a semen analysis on his own. And they don't find anything wrong. And some are lulled into complacency. They think, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. Let's just observe. But honestly, these are the more difficult patients to treat. And if you look at the medical literature, unexplained infertility sometimes requires straight IVF. So if you do know someone with this, or you do know someone who's struggling with this, let them know right away that they have to be evaluated by an infertility specialist. So what are the tests that we have to do? Well, in a nutshell, this is the basic principle of the fertility tests. Number one, of course, you have to make sure that the lady is ovulating, because you have to know that she has eggs, right? And that every month there is a chance to get pregnant. And how do you know that? Basta nagre-regla po, mga 85 to 90% sure ka. If it's regular, you're pretty sure that the lady is ovulating. all I need to do is ask for me to know. And kung alam niyo po, like nafe-feel niyo, kung nape-predict niyo po yung menses niyo or nafe-feel niyo right before your period, magkakaroon na ako. Or some women are very sensitive. They're very in tune with their own bodies. They actually know when they're ovulating. And they're correct, kasi 14 days later, mens sila. So that alone, I know that the patient is ovulating. Sometimes you can also see it through ultrasound. Now, you make sure that there are no problems with the uterus and the ovaries. Like I mentioned some diseases earlier, no? And these are things that you have to evaluate in the patient as well. Now, the functional fallopian tubes, that's a very simple test. And that's something that I often see missed because although it's a simple test, it's a medyo specialized siya. Hindi siya simpleng ultrasound. So sometimes, there are patients who have been going to a doctor for a very long time and then dami ng ginawang treatments, yun pala barado yung fallopian tubes. That can happen. No? So make sure, this time I'm letting you know that these things should be checked too. And of course, it's not just the hardware that you need to check. You also need to look at other diseases that may affect fertility. So medical illnesses like hypothyroidism can actually affect your ovulation. Diabetes can also affect fertility and can make you subfertile. It's also something that should be checked before you get pregnant because diabetic women can get pregnant, but it's crucial, I think, that you have to be checked before you get pregnant because you need to have a healthy pregnancy, and having high blood sugar during a pregnancy can mean so many bad things during the pregnancy. So make sure you're checked before you get pregnant. Family history of illnesses. Of course, if there's history of infertility in the family, that may warrant investigation. Previous surgery to your genital organs like the uterus, fallopian tubes, that can also cause infertility. And one of the more common surgeries that can cause infertility is ovarian surgery. Like for example, may cyst po kayo, tapos tinanggal po yung cyst. Sometimes it can affect the quality of the eggs or the number of eggs that are left. No? Lifestyle factors, that's a very important and often neglected thing. This includes work stress. No? This is an emerging field, actually, lifestyle factors, because we're finding more and more that there's so many things around us that can affect our fertility. If you've heard of endocrine disruptors, they're hormone-like substances. So para sila pong estrogen that are found in so many things. Like for example, yung mga plastics po natin. If nung childhood po, sanay po kayong uminom sa plastic straw and plastic bag, the mga soft drinks. Ayun po, we don't know, no? The effect of that. Baka may mga phthalates po yun and BPA, we don't know. That can be a cause of fertility problems. And maybe I was talking about Filipinos and endometriosis now. There is a strong link between endometriosis and endocrine disruptors. So inisip ko baka it's our environment too that could have made us more prone. Of course, obviously sexual dysfunction. If may sexual dysfunction, hindi po nagtatalik. So mahirap po talaga mabuntis ang babae. So this one, it's a busy slide. I apologize. But basically, what you can really look at is the one in the middle. So, kasi nga I want to empower you. So, I want to give you the knowledge to know na ano ba yung pinaka-basic na tests that I should be getting if I am seeing a doctor. For all patients, at least this is in my practice, if a patient comes to me for fertility, I ask for an ultrasound. It's a transvaginal ultrasound. And the purpose there is to see, of course, your genital organs. Now, it looks normal, na walang myoma, walang endometriotic cyst, ganyan. Ito po yung sinasabi kong, yung hysterosalpingogram, that is the fallopian tube test that I was talking about. It's a simple test. It's an X-ray. Actually, ano po yan? Covered in PhilHealth. So it's really quite affordable already. It seeks to find out if your fallopian tubes are blocked. And usually, ang gumagawa po talaga niyan, infertility specialists. Obviously, semen analysis is required because it's not just the female that we're looking at. We're looking at the couple. Infertility is a couple's disease. So if you're checking the female, you also have to check the male. So in just anecdotal, in my practice, pagkakasama po yung husband sa clinic, alam ko na mabubuntis yan. Kasi meron po talagang factor yung involvement po ng husband in terms of support, of course, not just financial support, emotional support, etc. And yung tenacity ng couple in trying to get pregnant. Importante po yan. So whenever I see a husband walking in, I congratulate him na I congratulate the couple kasi it's a good sign. No? Other things not necessarily related to fertility, but I think it deserves a check na rin is infection screening and pap smear. Pap smear is essentially an infection screening because it checks for HPV infection. Why do I do this? Of course, because this is a good time to catch all of those. No? It should be done naman po talaga during check. Now, if a patient is above 35 or has other diseases that I already identified as causing infertility, nag-check na po kaagad kami ng AMH or FSH. Ano po to? Antral follicle count. Lahat po yan. Those are ovarian function tests. So it can tell you if a woman still has enough eggs. No? Hindi lang po age kasi ang nagsasabi about how much eggs you have. Recently, I've been noticing as well na marami pong younger women na ang baba-baba na ng ovarian reserve. In fact, I have some patients in their early 30s who have stopped menstruating already. And then when you check, konti na lang po yung eggs nila. A lot of these women have had ovarian surgery in the past, typically for endometriosis. Ang endometriosis po kasi on its own can cause decreased ovarian reserve. Ibig sabihin, kumukonti na talaga yung eggs. And doing these tests can help us know if konti na lang yung eggs. On the flip side naman, pagka may PCOS, malalaman natin kung sobrang daming, kung pwede ba siyang ma-overstimulate sa mga gamot. So that's also something that we look out for. May under, may over. Why are we super concerned about that? Well, unlike males po kasi, tayong babae, finite po ang number of eggs. Meaning, the eggs that we had at birth, yan na po ang eggs natin forever. When you are born, you have about 2 million eggs. Tapos pagdating mo ng say, reproductive years mo, mga 400,000 yan. Bababa po ng bababa po yan. Ang bilis, no? From age 0 until age 15, mga 400,000. By the time na menopausal na po, 10,000 na po yan. And yun naman scary. The interesting thing about that is most of the loss is age 37 and above. So, fairly stable po yung numbers niyan. So, 400,000 yan, 300,000 until 37 years old. Pagdating na 37 years old, biglang babagsak po yan. So much so that by 45, 48, mga 10,000 na lang. Ganun po siya. So after 40, because there are risks involved na po, nagpapamammogram na po ako sa pasyente. And if a patient has irregular bleeding or abnormal bleeding, minsan ay biopsy na rin. Kasi yung risk of endometrial cancer is also there. Especially in ladies who have polycystic ovary syndrome. Because polycystic ovary syndrome can be a cause of endometrial cancer. And it can be a cause for a lot of things actually. So kasama po dyan ang 75-gram OGTT, which is a blood sugar test. And I also check the lipid profile. Ang hindi ko po na-include dito na I should have included actually is thyroid hormones. Kasi sometimes sa polycystic, di ba, irregular ang meds. Akala mo polycystic. Yun pala, thyroid problems pala yung cause. So, ngayon, for male workup naman, sa semen analysis, this is the only thing that we require for men now. Unfair, no? But so far, ito pa lang po. And it's just a quick test. Ako po, personally, I am very particular about where my patients get their semen analysis because not all laboratories are equal. Most laboratories actually are not that accurate. If you notice here, no, the normal forms, ito po yung sinasabi ko, hindi ganun kataas yung requirement ng male. Ang kailangan lang po ng lalaki para makonsider na normal is 4% normal sperms. So, ibig sabihin, kung 96% abnormal po yan, okay pa siya. So, there you go. So, hindi nga ganun kataas ang requirement natin for males. Sometimes, I see results showing 90% normal, 80% normal. Kayo po, pag nakita niyo po yun dun sa test ng asawa ninyo, magduda na po kayo kasi ang ganun lang po kataas ay yung ibang mammal friends natin, like the cheetahs, the orangutans, sila po yung ganyan katataas. Ang humans, I've never seen anyone go above 12%. So if you see that result, then magduda na po kayo, magpa-test na po kayo sa usually mga IVF centers. Sila po yung mas accurate. Okay, what are our treatment options? Well, of course, lifestyle is super, super important. Maintaining a healthy weight can spell the difference between fertility and infertility, and a healthy pregnancy and an unhealthy pregnancy. So it's not just being overweight. No? Sometimes being underweight can also affect ovulation. And I alluded to that earlier. We have patients na addict masyado sa exercise. So yan, minsan nagsastop sila mag-ovulate. Sexually transmitted infections can actually cause infertility. Bakit? Kasi nga yung fallopian, yung infection na yan, it causes inflammation, di ba? And that inflammation can go up. It can go to your fallopian tubes. It can go to your uterus, your endometrium. The problem with the fallopian tubes is sobrang sensitive. Pagka namagana po yan, minsan nagpepeklat po yan sa loob. And it causes scarring. Ang fallopian tube din po, may mga maliliit na hairs yan sa loob that help with the transport of the egg. So sila po yung nagda-direct sa egg kung saan sila pupunta. Ngayon minsan, kapag ka nagnanana dyan sa loob or nagkaka-infection, nagdidikit-dikit po yung mga hairs na yun. Yeah, so infections can actually really cause infertility. The 3+3 rule is really mostly a screening rule. Kasi you have to be cognizant of that because sometimes you don't know nakaka-infect ka na pala. What is this 3+3 rule? Well, it just means that it takes about 3 days for us to, 3 weeks after infection to first show signs. Sometimes it can take as long as 3 weeks. And sometimes negative po kayo in the first 2 weeks ng tests. So during that time na wala kayong nararamdaman, depende po sa sexual practices. No? Pero minsan, if you have a lot of unprotected sex, pwede po nyo mapasa yan sa partner ninyo. And then sometimes it takes 3 months for the first HIV test to be positive. So, ganun po ka-wide detection period niyan. So, it's very important that if you cannot be abstinent, at least man lang practice safe sex. No? Use a condom. Having a regular sleeping pattern is also very important. Why? Because this can really affect your hormonal profile. No? Irregular sleeping talaga is one of the most common causes of hormonal dysfunction. And sometimes it can cause ovulation problems. Of course, isa pang pinakabawal sa lifestyle is yung smoking, excessive alcohol, over-exercise, excessive caffeine. Ang caffeine, thankfully, for people like me, or I'm sure a lot of, hindi siya bawal. Pero excessive caffeine can affect fertility. Excessive means more than 5 cups, 250 ml cups of brewed coffee. Dami, no? 5. Pero some would say as low as 2 can actually be, as much as more than 2 can actually be considered excessive na. Toxins depends, sometimes kasi hindi mo yun mapigilan depends on your work, no? But as much as possible, try to mitigate your exposure to toxins. And in our own way, we can prevent this by how? The most common really is having less processed food. Kasi yung mga processed food yan po yung heavily handled, packaged in plastic, yung mga plastic na containers. I know I might sound hippy-dippy, no? Pero it's an emerging field kasi, and we're finding more and more how bad these things really are for us. Not just us, even for the environment. Ang isa pong bawal is waiting too long to start on your fertility journey because, like I said earlier, everything else we can fix it, but not your age and not ovarian function. So what can we do, no? For these treatment options? Well, we can actually have we can already start vitamins. We can already have our healthy lifestyle, even when we're not yet trying to get pregnant. So this is what I was talking about earlier. If you do want children in the future and you want a healthy pregnancy, have a healthy lifestyle even beforehand. For those who are already trying, or maybe kakasal na po kayo, it's important that you should start folic acid in women. Folic acid should be taken actually 2 to 3 months prior to getting pregnant. I'll go into this a little more later. So what other procedures can be done for our patients? Well, the first is, this part may be a little bit technical, but I just want to give you an overview now of what to expect. So the first is ovulation induction and time intercourse. Like the name sounds, no? Tina-timing po ang sex ng couple based on the time na alam natin na mangingitlog po yung female. So ano po nangyayari dito? Well, usually yan, first day of mens, you tell your doctor that you have your period. And then nagbibigay po ng medicine para mangitlog. So these are typically your clomiphene, letrozole. Minsan may injectables din. After that, in-ultrasound po ang pasyente to see kung mayroong response din sa gamot. And then once malaki na po yung egg, malapit na po yan mahinog, may binibigay na pangpahinog. And that's your trigger, we call it. 36 hours later, mangingitlog na po yung female. So anytime within that period, that's when intercourse is advised. So when does pregnancy happen? When do we detect the pregnancy? About 28 days. So 14 days after that timed intercourse. Personally po, hindi ko na po masyadong ginagawa ito kasi hindi siya ganun ka-effective. Hindi siya kasing effective look at the chances about 25% in those who are trying to get pregnant kung very, very young. Pero kung above 35, less than 10% na lang po siya. So, ang mas effective po is yung tinatawag po natin intrauterine insemination or yung artificial insemination. Tapos basically, it's the same process. So, may gamot din po, may iniinom, may ini-inject na gamot. May series of ultrasounds to check kung nangingitlog po o lumalaki po yung egg. And then nagbibigay po ng trigger again. After that, we do a process called sperm. Pinaprocess po natin yung sperm. So what we do is we get the best sperm, kino-concentrate po natin yan. Tapos yun po yung natin sa loob ng mattress ng babae. And then pregnancy test after 4 days. So the prerequisites, of course, you need eggs, dapat nangingitlog, dapat bukas po ang fallopian tubes kasi dadaan pa rin po ang sperm sa fallopian tubes. And yung embryo, dadaan po yan. Meron din po kaming requirement na at least man lang 5 million yung sperms. At milyonaryo dapat. Yun po ay mas maganda po yung prognosis. Kapag ka less than that, many times we already advise IVF kasi severe male factor na po yan. So even with IUI or intrauterine insemination, hindi rin po ganun kataas per cycle ang pregnancy rate. It's about 15 to 20% per cycle lang po siya. So, and it depends also on the center where you're having it done. To give you a perspective, ang normal couple, meaning wala silang problem, ang pregnancy rate niyan per cycle is about 20 to 30% lang din. So medyo parang nilalapit niya to normal po, yung chances of getting pregnant. So now we go to IVF. We always hear this, IVF, medyo nauuso na po siya ngayon kasi ang dami na pong centers. So I'll try to simplify it. It's quite a technical thing, pero to make it simpler, look at the diagram and I'll go through it. I'll walk you through the diagram. So again, we start with your menses. During the first day of your period, sasabihan niyo po yung doctor kasi may mga tests on day 2. Kasama po dyan ang egg test. You don't need your fallopian tube test. We check for the eggs, we check for hormones. Of course, semen analysis is very important. Pati infection screening dyan na rin po ginagawa. Tapos, we give medicines that are all injectables. Halos very rare po yung pagbigay po ng just natural cycle. So, ito po yung mga nakikita niya na maraming mga injections. Yan po yun. And then, talagang binubusisi po natin yung mga eggs. This time, instead of just 1 egg, ang ine-expect natin marami. So, siguro mga 15 to 20 eggs po yan. Para mag-increase po yung chance natin of getting pregnant. So, to get one live baby, we need maybe at least 15 eggs. So, yan po yung parameters na titingnan namin. Tapos, ultrasound guided po siya. So, what we do is this is with anesthesia, So, para siyang ultrasound setup. Meron pong needle na pinapasok transvaginally. So, trans-V ultrasound. Tapos sinasuck out po natin yung eggs. Tapos kaya po test tube baby, kasi dyan po siya nilalagay sa test tube. Tapos lahat po yan pupunin natin. And then we fertilize those eggs. So how do we fertilize? Meron po kasing regular IVF. Ito po yun. Yung egg tsaka yung sperm nagme-meet po dito sa laboratory. Para siyang ipagda-date po sila. So magme-meet sila. Tapos kumbaga pipili pa rin po yung egg. So yan po yung IVF. Yung ICSI or sperm injection, na po yan? Para siyang arranged marriage na talaga. Kami na po yung pipili ng sperm, yun na po yung i-inject sa loob po ng egg. So all of that, babantayin po natin kung magpa-fertilize. Tapos yan po, baby na po yan. Tapos yan po yung ita-transfer na natin sa loob ng matres. So hindi natin kailangan yung fallopian tubes kasi diretso na po siya sa loob ng matres. So even with IVF, I know it's more expensive, no? It's more expensive, mas malaki yung investment natin, pati emotionally. Even with that, it's not 100%. Per cycle, mga ano po yan, mga 40 to 60%. Pagka older po ang patient, mas less na po. Kaya nga po, waiting too long is not advised for women. Kasi mas mahirap rin po, even with IVF. So now, what is the best treatment option for you? If you're going to ask me, of course, it depends. No, it depends on, the thing with infertility treatment is it's very, very, very individualized. And depende po yan sa needs ninyo as a couple. And even financials are taken into account. And also, yung individual causes ng infertility. So, the things that are most important to consider are, of course, how many years na po kayo nagtatry. Pag more than 3 years, mas aggressive po kami. What investigations have you previously done? Pag nagawa na po yung mga investigations before, minsan hindi na po namin uulit. We take those into consideration. Also, what treatment options have been performed. Pag na-IVF na po yung pasyente before, hindi siya successful, hindi na po kami magta-try mag-IUI, mga ganun. Most often than not, we do IVF na po. What can we do while waiting? So there are some women who aren't, I'm sure there are some women in here who aren't married yet. What can you do while you're still waiting? These are the things that we have to consider, no? The periconceptional period. That's the period 3. Sorry, this is a little bit blurred, no? But this is the period that's about 14 weeks before getting pregnant up to 10 weeks before getting pregnant. During this time, yung 14 weeks na yan, anything that you take, anything that you eat can affect the pregnancy already. So, important po dyan na nagtatake na po kayo ng mga vitamins that are important for pregnancy. So, ano po yun? Well, the most important really is folic acid. And then, you also have to have a healthy lifestyle already. Healthy diet, exercise, and adequate sleep. If you're going to ask me what vitamins are needed, well, these are the ones that have been shown to be quite effective. Sila po yung may mga studies. So, special shout out po sa antioxidants, sa CoQ10, at saka for males, zinc, vitamin E, glutathione, and even NAC, no, and acetylcysteine. Ito po yung nasa Fluimucil. Lahat po yan, parang may mga studies po yan saying na effective po sila. Folic acid is very important for the fetus naman, for the brain development of the baby. So again, don't underestimate the power of a healthy lifestyle. An example po dyan is polycystic ovary syndrome. PCOS, dati hindi yan considered disease. During the ancient times, hindi yan disease. It was an adaptation siya to the environment. Kasi yung environment nun mahirap, di ba? So, ang PCOS, di ba, hindi ka regular mag-mens, so mahirap po magbuntis. And that was an adaptational response. Kasi hindi pwedeng anak na anak. Kasi paano ka, how can you run from a saber-tooth tiger if you have so many children na bit-bit, di ba? Or also, it allowed you, I know some of us have that problem na konti lang kinakain natin pero mabilis tayong tumaba. Tapos minsan buong isang linggo na tayo hindi kumakain tapos hindi tayo pumapayat. So we have the thrifty gene. You know, if we lived in the time of the hindi man dinosaurs, of the woolly mammoth, tayo yung queens, tayo po yung maghahari-harian noon kasi we have the thrifty gene. But now, you know, things have changed, we've adapted and we've evolved, and now siguro parang we've devolved na, no? And this is what we've become, no? Our environment is causing all these problems with obesity and etc. And that really affects fertility. So ito po yung one of our main problems now, and it's something that we really have to take into consideration. Very important po yan when we're trying to get pregnant. And this is something that we can do something about, no? Even on our own, even before we see a doctor, or even before we contemplate getting pregnant. How about those ladies who they don't want to get pregnant yet. They're still quite young. They have no partner. There is something that we call social egg freezing nowadays. And it is the first part of the IVF process that I showed you earlier. And this is something that you can consider. It gives you the option of waiting, no, to start a family. I mentioned earlier that your eggs are finite, no? And the younger you are, the better quality your eggs are. Now, pagka finreeze mo at 25 years old yung egg mo, even if 40 years old ka na magbuntis, yung embryo mo comes from a 25-year-old egg. So yung performance niya, parang fresh na fresh pa, parang 25 years old. So that is the value of social egg freezing. Ibang-iba po kasi ang egg ng 25-year-old sa 40 years old. Kasi if you are 25 years old, your eggs are 25 years old. If you are 40 years old, your eggs are 40 years old. So that time alone, no, can make it very susceptible to so many things. So genetically, it's very different. So this is something that we have now. We're lucky we have this now, and we're seeing more and more young women avail of it. So for those who are already trying or who are already on their journey, have faith. Sometimes it doesn't happen overnight because even miracles take a little time. It's really a matter of, like I mentioned the word tenacity. Sometimes it takes months. It takes a lot of treatments sometimes to get pregnant because there was a problem in the first place. But you can get pregnant and there is help available. And even for those who eventually, they don't get pregnant, sometimes it's a choice. It's really the perspective that they needed, and you just really need to trust the journey because sometimes it will give you the most important thing, which is perspective. And whether it's a live baby, whether it's your decision just to be childless, you can be happy with that, or a decision to adopt. All of those things can be factored in journey, and we will be part of it, and you will determine that for us. So that's my last slide, and I'm very open to any questions, and I'd be happy to answer all of them.
O, diba? I told you our learning session today will be very interesting. So we learned so much about fertility, the workups, treatment options, and caring for our reproductive health. So thank you so much, Doc Maris, for a very comprehensive discussion. Again, to everyone, if you have questions about Doc Maris's lecture, please don't hesitate to type them in the Q&A box and we'll get back to them shortly. Okay, so many of us here are in the reproductive stage, or we have sisters, brothers, sons or daughters, no, who are part of this bracket. Or maybe you're just ultimately curious, no? So now is the time to clear these out. We can move on to our Q&A part of the webinar.
I'm looking at it now.
Ayan, so since Doc Maris's camera is turned on, we can proceed to the first question. So we have a first question here. It says, from Ms. Sheena Sarmiento, Doc, for those that work out, how would the individual know that they stop ovulating?
Like I mentioned earlier, history. Kung hindi siya na-miss niya yung mens niya, pag nag-irregular siya, most likely nag-stop siya mangitlog. Kasi alam mo yan eh, kapag regular ka, di ba? You can tell na, ay, magkakaroon ako in 2 weeks. Tapos minsan, ang dami na may app eh, di ba? You can use those apps and see kung hindi na kayo nagtutugma. Baka, hindi naman lahat po ng nag-workout, nangyayari po yan. It's those who have drastic weight loss and yung mga sobrang konti nila yung body fat. Yan po, those are the patients that we look out for. But working out is good. Don't stop. Kung mag-stop ang mens or sobra ka ng payat, maybe that's when you should revisit and seek medical attention.
Okay, sige. Thank you, Doc. Okay, we have another question here. It says, how early should women have their reproductive system checked?
I would say, as a matter of general health, no? A pap smear kasi, usually nagsistart yan with a pap smear, right? So mga 22 to 25, that's when some nga say in the US, regardless of sexual intercourse or not, nagpapa-pap smear na po. Kasi it's a good chance na rin to check the other genital organs, kung irregularity ng menses, even the breast exam. So I would check early, even in the early 20s. Hindi naman yan kailangan every year. Sometimes kung walang problema, every 3 years. When you reach 30s, yan po, mas kailangan na po. Lalo na kung nag-sexual intercourse na po, dapat mas often.
Okay, sige. Thank you, Doc. So basta 20s, pwede na. Pag 30s, mas often, right? Okay. So here we have another question. Hi, Doc Maris. My doctor prescribed me to drink contraceptives for 6 months to regulate my menstruation. So since I was diagnosed with PCOS, after the 6 months medication, do I need to go back to my doctor? Or do I monitor myself if my menstruation regulates already? When do I consult my OB again?
You know, yung 6 months na yan, that's a tried and tested trick namin ng OBs. We give the medicines for only 6 months para you come back. Kasi you have to be seen at least once a year. Taking the pill, yes, It depends rin kasi what you want. Some patients, dahil may PCOS sila, naka-pill sila para mag-regularize yung mens nila, yun pala gusto nila mag-baby. Diba? Paano sila mabubuntis kung naka-pills sila? Or sometimes nag-irregular bleeding with the pills, or minsan hindi hiyang, pero they're still on the same pill. There are so many options kasi. So it would be prudent to go back really after 6 months. One thing, ang PCOS, the ovaries, I find it to be a very bad name because the ovaries are really just an innocent bystander of the whole disease problem. It's a lifestyle disease. So the major problem there is really insulin or sugar control. Yung ovaries, medyo echapuera lang siya. Parang yun lang kasi yung kasi sa gynecologist pupunta So yun yung titingnan namin. But the major problem is metabolic. In fact, merong male PCOS. Wala lang sila ovaries. Yeah, parang may male phenotype na siya. We've been finding. It's the same thing except that it's in guys. So just shows you how important or unimportant the ovaries are in the whole disease. So,
we're wanting Doc Maris to answer just one question, pero mas marami tayong natututunan. So our next question naman, here it says, how much is egg freezing all in for the following age brackets? Oh, Doc, may
galing na question.
may age brackets.
I love it.
25 to 29, 30 to 35, and 35 to 40.
Tsaka tamang-tama yung mga age brackets. Again, it's very individualized. But you're right, as a general rule, the younger you are, the more cost-effective it is. Bakit? Kasi the medicines we use are less. And medicines are half the cost of the entire process. So pag 25 to 29, ang cost niyan is, I would say, maybe 300 to 350,000. Pagka 30 to 35, maybe 350 to 400. Pag 35 to 40 and above, it's hard to say, no? Pwede umabot ng 400 or even more. It depends on the profile of the patient. But I've seen some na talagang, actually pagka egg freezing lang minsan sa States nagre-reject sila ng more than 40 years old. They already advise donor eggs, but that's not allowed here. Kasi yung chances of pregnancy really are quite low, much lower. So yun po yung mga range. Of course, it depends on the center, it depends on the doctor.
Okay.
I think.
Ayan, okay. So whoever asked that question, I hope nasagot ni Doc kasi talagang per bracket tayo. And I think hindi lang si anonymous person ang curious dito. Actually, Doc, kahit kami rin. Parang we would talk amongst ourselves na, oo, parang ito yung price pag ganito, tapos nag-increase siya sa age, ganyan.
Actually, you know, 25 to 29, pwede pa yung 250, I would say 250 to 350. Yan yung range niya. Pwede talaga siya much less.
Okay, sige. Thank you so much, Doc. Meron pa tayong additional question. So here it says, for those undergoing surrogate, okay, is there a percentage of the surrogate gene mom which goes to the child?
You know, there is genetics. That's from the mother and the father, and that's from the egg and the sperm. That one doesn't change, but there is also something called epigenetics. And that is the effect of the environment and the environment that the woman who was carrying the baby had during her pregnancy. So in a way, that is true. Meron pong effect po yung surrogate dun sa genetic expression. Kasi you have genes, nandyan na po yan, pero the way it's expressed can be altered by the environment. So that can be the contribution of the surrogate. That being said po, ang surrogacy is not allowed here yet, but maybe some have been doing it abroad na kasi. So that's a very good question.
Okay, thank you, Doc. Doc, super interesting ng lecture and ang daming questions na pumapasok. So
I'm just gonna put nga here. I think someone wants to ask a live question. Should we give them?
Okay, so do we proceed first to the next question? Okay, so here, Doc, it says, is there value in checking for APAS? Will the workup be different with or without APAS? Was also diagnosed with PCOS.
We see that a lot, no? A lot of women with PCOS seem to have some immunological problem as well. APAS you require clinical criteria for that. Hindi po lahat ng infertility tinitest for APAS. Unang-una, hindi siya kailangan palagi. We usually request that kung meron ng mga senyales. Ano yon? Yung nagkaroon na ng more than 2 na pregnancy losses. Ibig sabihin, nagka-miscarriage na twice. Or those who've had pregnancy na may heartbeat na, tas nawala. Like kunwari 16 weeks, bigla nawala yung heartbeat. Nagkaroon sila ng hypertension problems during their past pregnancy. Maraming mga clinical criteria yan. Another thing we don't always check is it's super expensive. And for something, tsaka nakaka-stress siya. So, I think hindi just na gawin siya as a blanket test for all patients. Kasi in the first place, APAS is rare. No? Hindi siya ganun ka-common. But of course, kung may clinical criteria, depende na yun sa doctor mo if they think you need it. Then it's warranted.
Okay, sige, Doc. Our next question. Hi, Doktora. My sister has hypothyroidism. Okay, age 43. Slim na po ba ang chance na magbuntis? Salamat po.
Not because of the hypothyroidism, more because of the age. After age 42, less than 10% in chance of getting pregnant per cycle. If she wants to get pregnant, she still has good egg function. Baka IVF is the way to go na.
Okay. Sige, Doc. Next question. Tutuloy-tuloy na natin to.
Sige,
Can you still get pregnant if you have myoma and endometrial polyps? Is it dangerous?
Oh yeah, you can. You can. Myomas are not uncommon by the age 50 years old. By age 50, 50% of us have it. If you're African American, 90% have it. So abnormal ka kung wala ka myoma. Depends on the myoma. So, ano ba yung isa niyang question? May endometrial polyp. Depends rin sa size ng endometrial polyp. Generally, pag less than 1 centimeter, hindi namin masyadong pinapansin unless infertile talaga, may infertility or for IVF in patient.
Okay, next question. Hi po, Doktora. How many cycles po ba pwede uminom ng mga ovulation?
I would say...
sorry, this is Doc na kulang lang. Ovulation-inducing agent meds like clomiphene and letrozole.
Gets ko naman. We generally don't stay with one treatment for more than 4 to 6 months. Kasi di ba, very time sensitive ang infertility eh. So kapag di ba, ang count namin per cycle. So in general, kapag naka 6 cycles ka na, tig to 20% yung chance mo per cycle, dapat nabuntis ka na. Kung hindi ka pa buntis, it's not the treatment for you. So you should go to the next step. No? So pag ganun lang kami, stepwise. So I would say 4 to 6 times.
Okay, sige. Thank you, Doc. Okay, our next question is from Sir Rex. From Sir Rex Dio, majority of young couples today delay pregnancy and opted to have pets instead. Will there be any effect later on if they wish to get pregnant?
What do you mean yung pets?
Yes.
You know what? Ang pets are very great stress relievers. So, actually, wala naman silang direct correlation, but it really depends. If you're still thinking of getting pregnant, just don't delay it too long. I would say before the age 35, think about it na. I don't know why. Maybe the question about pets is because maybe they're happy even without children. They're happy without it. Pwede naman, that's valid. You shouldn't feel bad if that's how you really feel. I learned that when I was abroad. They're more upfront about not wanting children. In fact, may nagpapahysterectomy at a very young age because they really don't want kids. They don't want the pressure. So I stopped forcing people kasi yun yung field ko, di ba? So kami, why? I'm always like that. But no, sometimes it's their life choice. So pwede naman.
Right. Sige, Doc. Thank you for that. Thank you for answering this question. Meron tayo dito, medyo naman mahaba. Hi, Doc. I have PCOS on my right ovary, but my left ovary still produces eggs. Okay, so as per my latest checkup, on top, I have 3 myomas, 1 cm range in size. In my last checkup, I was advised to not worry about myoma and focus on getting pregnant instead. However, until now, we can't. Do we need to change something or do I need to do additional checkup?
If you have infertility, then you need additional checkup. Ano ba yung infertility? Since you do have PCOS and myoma, if you've been trying for more than 6 months na, then you need additional workup pa rin and additional treatments.
Okay, sige. Thanks, Doc. Now for our last question. By quality of eggs, does it only refer to the probability of conceiving or also if one will be able to have a healthy baby?
It's everything. It's not just the eggs, pati yung sperm. I mentioned age of the male earlier. There are findings now that the male having an older male population impregnate women. While they can, the quality of the offspring can be affected. So it's true, no? Kasi hindi lang naman chances of getting pregnancy yung bumabagsak kapag ka 37 and above eh. Yung miscarriage rate after 37 sobrang tumataas din. So ang miscarriage rate is a factor of the quality of the egg and the sperm. So that's something that we see.
Okay, so thank you, Doc. This ends our Q&A session. And Doc, salamat sa wisdom na na-impart mo to everyone who was, and thank you also to everyone who sent their questions to all of us. Who sent their questions on the Q&A.
Great questions. No?
Yeah, thank you, Doc. And before we go, let us hear some parting words from Doc Nancy.
Wow. Wala akong masasabi kundi wow. Thank you so much, Doc Maris and Alexa. This is such a very light discussion, but we learned a lot. Kahit ako personally, I learned a lot from the topic that was discussed this morning. Ang daming aha moments, and I'm sure our participants also, we have a total of, magsalamin na nga tayo. As of this time, we have kanina hanggang 120 no, in the attendees group. So thank you so much again, Doc Maris and Alexa. So for this GTA webinar session, meron na naman akong realization na this is not just a webinar, but this is actually a consultation with an expert. So thank you so much, Doc Maris. No? And we also appreciate all the questions na tinanong ng ating participants. And to end, I would like to emphasize again na here in Grupong Tamang Alaga, we value yung total health ng isang tao. No? That's why yung advocacy talaga natin in Tamang Alaga is to provide yung total health. No? Yung sabi nga ni Doc Maris, yung infertility, it can be addressed also by maintaining a healthy lifestyle. And I also appreciate all yung mga additional supplements that we can take, no, in order to maximize no, yung ating fertility. Unfortunately, hindi ko naging problem yan, Doc Mars. So in fact, I had fertility magic. No? So I hope no, natuto tayong lahat at we really look forward to the next webinars, hindi lang for this year but also in the subsequent years. No? So sana you continue to share our webinars to your loved ones, your family and friends. And baka makalimutan ko, Doc Maris, I hope no, kung meron pang ibang questions yung ating mga audience, maybe you can also share your clinic, no? Baka dun sa chat box. No? So ang tingin ko parang ang dami pang mga gustong magtanong. So I just hope you will still be open no, in entertaining these questions. So maraming salamat po ulit CIT, yung ating GTA webinar team, HR. Alexa, you look so great. Tatay mo pala si Alex Tinson. And Josh, no, and everyone, maraming salamat po at ingat po kayo palagi. Bye!
Okay, thank you, Doc Nancy. That was another enriching learning session for all of us. Again, we would like to thank everyone. Thank you, Doc Nancy. Again, that was another enriching learning session for all of us. We would like to thank everyone for taking the time and for attending this webinar. So again, na-mention ni Doc Nancy on behalf of Sir Joey, the GTA Academy, and the Unilab CIT, we wish you a very nice day. Okay, happy weekend, and bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank
you. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.